Hello everyone, this is Nick from Too Many Games, and welcome to our very first Too Many Games report. In this video, we're going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. And it is something that I accomplished last year that I never thought that I would be able to accomplish, and some of the people within my community never thought that I would be able to accomplish it either. So in this Too Many Games report, we're going to be talking about my journey through the 2024 completion list. The goal of my 2024 completion list was to simply tackle my backlog. I have way too many games throughout my Steam library, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, to the point where I felt super overwhelmed with how many video games that I do have to play versus how many video games that I can actually beat throughout that catalog. So I watched plenty of videos from other content creators. I'll make sure to link a few of them below, so if you want to watch them, you're more than welcome to do so. But I felt that it is something that I could accomplish myself if I really put my mind to it. So I did. After watching a ton of these content creators go through their journey of a completion list, I realized that it is something that I can do as well. There were two things that I knew that I had to do before even starting the 2024 completion list. The first thing I needed to do was figure out a baseline of how many video games I can complete in a month. So this idea came up around 3 months into 2023. So I figured, you know what, for the rest of 2023, I'm going to keep track of how many video games I complete. And after completing that, I realized I was actually able to complete about 4 video games a month. So using that data, I brought that over to 2024, my main completion list challenge or quest or whatever you want to call it. I took that data and I told myself, if I'm going to actually accomplish this goal, I absolutely have to accomplish 4 video games per month. The second thing that I needed to do before starting my challenge was organization. How am I going to keep all of this organized? I could write it down. I could keep a list on a Discord server, or you can just do what I do. I created a Google spreadsheet. I kept track of how many video games that I completed in the year, but I also wrote down the games that I want to accomplish, the games that I wanted to complete. And referring to that list was actually super helpful to me because of how large my library is. Some of these amazing games, they kind of just disappear. I like never see them again. I'll sometimes browse through Steam and I'll be like, I own that game? So organization is super pivotal for a challenge like this. So after going through the entire year of 2024, it was a long year of ups and downs for this challenge. And I am proud to say that I was actually able to complete 75 video games. I absolutely crushed my goal. I actually realized midway through the year that I was completing a little bit more than 4. I was actually averaging about 5 to 6 video games per month, which kind of blew my mind. But there is a reason why I was able to accomplish such things. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about the pros and the cons of having a challenge, or to do a challenge like a completion list quest throughout an entire year. So first, let's go over some of the pros. One of the major pros to doing this is that you actually take away a huge chunk of your backlog. For me, I completed 75 video games, and I have way more than 75 video games on my backlog. But once the year was over and I was able to actually reflect on all of the games that I did complete, I realized, okay, I completed a lot of games. The backlog is just a little bit smaller, and it actually helped me move forward with my gaming experience, so to say. Another big pro that I noticed for me about doing a challenge like this, I actually am a very organized person. Normally, I wouldn't think about, where I put things or how do I want to organize specific things, but with my completion list, it actually helped me develop some organizational skills. And it helped me not only keep track of video games, but it also made me catalog what kind of video games that I'm into And I realized that I was actually into a couple new genres, such as JRPGs. And now I'm playing a lot more JRPGs like Yakuza. Oh my God, I love the Yakuza franchise, guys. You don't even understand. So now that you know some of the pros of my 2024 completion list, I want to talk about some of the cons, because there were a ton of negative things about it. And the number one thing that I could say is a huge con to the entire thing is time. I realized super quick that I did not have the amount of time in order to accomplish such goal. And I was so hell-bent on completing this challenge and actually reaching 4 video games a month. I actually sacrificed a lot of time doing outside things, doing other things such as going to the movie, hanging out with my family, going to have dinner with my family and whatnot. I was so fixated on trying to be able to accomplish 4 video games a month that I just no-lifed it, and I never touched grass, which was honestly super, not only humiliating, but just genuinely sad. Another major con that I didn't realize until maybe a couple weeks into 2025 was when I did create my spreadsheet, I made a list of all of the games that I want to complete. And by looking at that, it just made me not want to play those games when the time came to it. For example, I had Cyberpunk 2077 early on that list. And a lot of the times last year, I would look at that and I'd be like, I don't really want to play Cyberpunk. I don't want to just sink all of my time into one video game. Why don't I play something shorter, or something that I haven't beat yet that won't take a lot of time to accomplish? So by doing that, I felt that I missed out on a lot of great titles that I could have played if I simply just looked through my library of what I have, and if one game stuck out, I just grabbed it and played it. So now that we kind of gone over some of the pros and the cons of having a completion list challenge, or a quest, or whatever you want to call it, what would I do differently? There's really only one thing that I would do differently with a challenge like this, and I've already talked about it earlier in this video, which was a con. And the one thing that I would do differently is better time management. I realize that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter completing 4 video games a month. It's okay completing 1 or 2. That's normal. That is okay. You don't have to sacrifice doing other things in your life just for that video game. It is okay. So for me, it's just better time management and figuring out how to enjoy the video game that I'm playing, rather than looking at the quantity of video games that I have. So my main takeaway of the challenge, or the quest, or the goal, is that video games are fun. Gaming is supposed to be a fun hobby. It's for your entertainment. It's not supposed to be, looked at as a job or a chore. It's supposed to be looked at as something that you genuinely enjoy, something that you're passionate about. And towards the end of 2024, when I kind of dialed it down on how many video games I completed each month, I started to realize that there were a ton of games that I never thought I would be able to play if it wasn't for this goal. And by doing so, it helped me just further grow. It just helped me further grow my passion for video games. So that's just basically a summary of my entire journey through my 2024 completion list goal, or quest, or challenge, or whatever you want to call it. But my biggest thing is that I strongly encourage you, the viewer, to tackle a challenge like this, to not be afraid and not be intimidated by it. It is something that you can accomplish. I don't think I would, set the bar super high by completing 75 video games, because that's insane. I don't know how I did that, nor do I think I'm going to be able to replicate that ever again. But tackling the backlog encourages you to actually play new games, or games that you've already purchased that you haven't even touched yet. Makes you realize that you might like a new genre, or you might not like a genre that you've played for years. You just never know until you try to do a challenge like this. Another big thing that I want everyone to know and to understand that if you are currently going through a challenge like this, or if you want to do a challenge like this, it is okay to stop playing a game if you don't like it. There were a lot of instances throughout the year that I would be playing a game that I just simply could not stand, and I wanted to stop playing, but I felt obligated to complete it because people within the community said they wanted me to complete it because it's something that they enjoyed, or it's a game that the mass majority of the gaming community enjoys, but you just don't enjoy. It's okay to put it away. You don't have to complete every single game on your list. You can always come back to it. So it's always okay to stop playing a game if you don't enjoy, because the main objective of the entire 2024 completion list, or a completion list as a whole, is to just play video games and to have fun playing them, because that is ultimately what I got from my entire experience. So thank you so much for watching the very first Too Many Games report. Hopefully you guys kind of like this setup. It's essentially just me talking about things that I'm passionate about, whether it be current video games that I'm playing, look ahead into some of the video games that are coming out throughout the year, and some of my overall experiences with gaming from my present or even my past. So again, thank you so much for watching the very first Too Many Games report. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to share this episode with all of your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember to keep gaming. We'll catch you in the next one.